Good evening and welcome to Promort Field here at Bernlohr Stadium. Jimmy Bloomfield here with you tonight as we have men's soccer action. Capital taking on Marietta College in a OAC tilt. Game number 6 of 9 here in the OAC. So we are nearing the end of the second of 3/3 in the season here. And we've got quite a bit of a jumbled mess towards the bottom, of the OAC conference in terms of the battle for that number 6 spot in the OAC tournament. That's kind of where Capital has found itself right now. You have the top half, every team in the top 5 has at least 9 points, which is a little bit of an issue for Capital as they only have 4 to this point. So realistically, kind of looking at securing that number 6 spot. And right now that is occupied currently by the Marietta Pioneers, who are 2-3 in conference play. That gives them 6 points. So with the win today, Capital will pull in front of Marietta, and at the worst, being a tie with Baldwin Wallace for the 6th spot. If you lose this game, then you are chasing the Pioneers at 9 points with 4 points and only 3 games left to catch them. It's going to put yourself in a tough position. So that's kind of the bad news with where Capital is currently positioned. But if you wanted to hear some good news, Capital is right there in terms of where the schedule is going. Very realistic shot that they end up at 4-4-1 when all is said and done in conference play, right at 500. Their only game left against one of those top 5 teams is John Carroll, which will be a tough one, of course. The rest of the games are against Marietta, who's 2-3, Baldwin Wallace, who's currently tied with Capital at 1-3-1, 1-4. They already played Muskingum. The other game being Heidelberg at 0-5. So you've got an 0-5, a 1-3-1, a 2-3, and then a 4-1 team left on the schedule in terms of conference records there. So Capital has a favorable schedule the rest of the way, and it's going to be up to some consistent play to see if they can right the ship here before the end of conference. It's also worth noting they tied Otterbein, who is currently the 5th team, at 2-0-3. They lost by 1 goal to Wilmington. They lost by 1 goal to Ohio Northern, and then they did lose by 2 to Mount Union. So it's not like they're not in these games. A lot of close losses this season, and you don't want those kind of moral victories or anything, not given that speech right now. But Capital has been competitive in these games, and if they can just figure this out, go on a nice little win streak here, and at least take 3 of these 4, you think, against the other teams. Not that John Carroll game, that one, maybe we steal that one, maybe we don't. If you win the other 3, again, you finish 4-4-1, that's going to get you in the tournament. So that's the task at hand for this group, for the Comets here, and it's a big one against Marietta today because, like we said, if Marietta wins this game, Capital may not be able to catch them with how many points they'd have to make up at that point, with Marietta being 5 points ahead with 3 games left. You'd basically have to win out and hope for some breaks catching your way there. So this is the big one. This feels almost like a playoff game, almost like a must-win game, and allows you some breathing room to catch Marietta in the future. Let's say we lose on Saturday to John Carroll and Marietta gets back in front of Capital after a win here tonight. There's a lot of scenarios that could play out, of course, but making up 5 points with a tiebreaker as well if you lose would be a pretty insurmountable task, it would feel like. So if you get the win today, you're in the driver's seat for that last spot. If you lose today, then you're kind of in some trouble, and if you tie, you're probably in some trouble as well, but not as much trouble as if you lost. So it's a big one here today, and the stakes are high, and we'll see if Capital can take care of business against a 2-3 Marietta team. We do have some starting lineups. They were just announced here at the stadium, but we'll pass those across before we get to our national anthem. First for Marietta in nets, the sophomore goalkeeper Joey Backhouse. He's joined on the field by James Crossy, Jacob Roberto, Connor Kennedy, Gavin Long, Giovanni Audino, Gavin Chappell, Dave Beatty, Sam Holthouse, Elliot Britton, and Ben Teasdale. For Capital, they will go to the sophomore goalkeeper out of Delaware, Ohio tonight. That is Connor Sexton. He is joined by Sam Yoakum, Devin Hess, Jack Francisco, Jack Kasuji, Jarrett Puckett, Ryan Caruso, Colton Doherty, Jacob Deaver, Zadawad, and a interesting new feature to the starting lineup, Brennan Hesse, the sophomore, number 22, making the start and trying to get some new bodies in the rotation here. So Hesse, the new addition to the starting 11 from what we've been accustomed to seeing over the last few games, and we'll see if he can inject some new life into this attack, which again has been involved in games, but it's been a little bit of a suspect, kind of inconsistent start to OAC play for Capital, losing a couple of close games, and we'll see if they can make the difference tonight. Hesse, by the way, is making his 5th start of the season, just his 10th game, or his 8th game played. So with that said, we'll cut to our national anthem, and when we come back, we will have some kickoff and soccer action here from Bernlohr Field at Bernlohr Stadium. Stay with us.
National anthem.
All right, welcome back up here in the broadcast booth. Bernlohr Field at Bernlohr Stadium, the site, and the campus of Capital University. Here in Central Ohio, playing host to the Marietta Pioneers out of Marietta, Ohio, which is on the east side border of the state. And a good one here tonight for sure. Capital will be in their home black uniforms, white sleeves on the jerseys, as it is not a warm night here in Central Ohio. Temperature currently at 43 degrees. So it's going to be a chilly one here today. The Pios will be wearing their white uniforms with navy blue shorts. Good goalie matchup in this one. Two sophomores going at it. Again, it's Joey Backhouse and Connor Sexton. For Sexton, he is making his 8th appearance. He has the most minutes logged in net for the Comets this season. This will be his 8th start. He's played in all 8 of those games. Obviously, no other games played besides the ones he started. Only 8 goals allowed, a 1.33 goals against average, 27% or 27 saves with a 77% save percentage. He has been the best goalkeeper for Capital this season. And in terms of Backhouse, he has played most of the minutes in net for Marietta. Get his numbers for you in just 1 second. Looks like Capital will have the first kick in this one. This will be Backhouse's 9th start of the season. We're underway. from Bernlohr. Cap moving left to right across your screen. And they will have a little bit of problems with it already. They get it right back, though. As it looks like Jacob Deaver, the freshman, wins possession back for the Comets. A lot of back and forth action through the middle third right now. Backhouse has played 705 minutes in net. The nearest to him was his backup Luke Price, who's played about 460 minutes in net. Only a 66% save percentage for Backhouse, 2.3 goals against average, 35 saves. So he has been susceptible to allowing some goals this season, and maybe Capital's offense can take advantage of that. Saw them win 2-0 against Muskingum a week ago here on Wednesday, and then drop to Mount Union 3-1 over the weekend on the road. Good job by the visitors to this point, kind of controlling possession through the middle third, and they've kind of dictated the tempo so far in the first 90 seconds or so. Capital pressuring well in the middle third now, pushing the pressure all the way back into the Marietta zone. They'll try to clear and unable to do so. And now Yoakum keeps the action moving along. I like the new black uniform look we're seeing from Capital. And very distinct black versus white here on the uniform, so it's very easy to tell who's on what side, which is always nice up here in the booth and doing stats and all of that. In terms of where the teams rank in conference games, I like to look at that, especially at this point in the season. In terms of goals scored, Capital's currently 5th at 8 goals, 1.6 per game. Marietta tied for 6th with 6 goals. Goals allowed, they're also kind of towards the bottom there. They each have allowed 10, which is tied for 7th and 8th, allowing 2 goals per game. So 2.0 for their opponents, and for Capital 1.64, for Marietta 1.24. So you can kind of see where the records are, where they are, as they've lost a couple of close games on both sides. And that'll put you a little bit minus overall on the total statistics. For corner kicks, interestingly enough, Capital is 3rd in the conference in corner kicks in these 5 games. Marietta's 6th at 23rd with 23 total. Just kind of an interesting number. Not much else I can say about it, but it is very interesting that they have that many corner kicks. Usually those will turn into goals, obviously. And both teams middle of the road in terms of shots per game, 16.4 for Capital, 16.2 for Marietta, 4th and 5th, respectively. So kind of middle of the road numbers as you'd expect for two teams battling for that 6th spot in the conference. Here's a turnover takeaway, I should say, for Capital, and a foul is called behind the play. Jack Kasuji getting possession there for Capital, and then tried to play it quickly and was fouled behind the play, so they will give Capital a free kick now. Major goal scorers to watch. On the other side, Elliot Britton has 5 in just 10 games played. 3 goals as well for Jacob Roberto. That's number 28 and number 7, respectively. Free kick sent into the box and headed right back out. Caruso will control for Capital. For the Comets, in terms of their leading goal scorers to keep out for, Devin Hess with 5 in 10 games as well. Kasuji has 4 in 12 games. Deaver with 3 in now 12 games played for him as well, making his 9th start. We'll keep an eye on the OAC action throughout this one as well. We'll give you an updated schedule in about 15 minutes or so once the action kind of settles down. And we will pass along tonight's schedule and, again, give you an update of scores as well and try to reset the table as they move through the game number 6 of 9 here in OAC play across the state of Ohio. Samuel Yoakum will throw this one in from the sideline. Yoakum, a freshman out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Coach Yost loves to recruit down there in Cincinnati. He's gotten a lot of good players from that area. Yoakum's throw-in was headed away, then he sends it back in the box. Deaver keeps it alive. Across from Yoakum and a header towards the goal. Nice save made in net by Backhouse. That was Devin Hess with the header that was taken away by Backhouse. First real threat of score here in this game. We just saw it in the game's 7th minute. The women's team will also be in action tonight. They, of course, have not lost in conference play yet. 4 wins and a draw for them. So we wish them luck as well. Another header on this side, and Marietta's going to be able to connect on theirs. So we see Backhouse make the save on this side, and on the other side, not so fortunate for the Comets as Sexton is unable to make the stop. And the goal is scored by Marietta to take a 1-0 lead in the game's 7th minute. Goal scored by number 31, Ben Teasdale, the junior out of the United Kingdom. And he gets the goal for the Pioneers to start off the scoring. That is Teasdale's first of the season. And the unlikely goal scorer was in a great spot for that one. Went to Lady Lumley's High School in Yorkshire, United Kingdom. Scored his first career goal back in 2020, and here's Capital responding. Kasuji, right off of the free kick resulting from Marietta's goal. Kasuji just takes it right down the box, and he beats Backhouse and ties it. Can't even get through the bio of the last scorer before Kasuji is able to tie the game back up. Wow. So, talk about action. 2 goals scored in less than 25 seconds, and Kasuji ties this game up. That is goal number 5 for Kasuji. He's now tied for the team lead. And we're back into play again. Don't turn your eye for a second here. You might miss another one. 1-1 our score. They go outside with it this time. And Kasuji looking for something inside. Francisco in the box, Hess in the box, but Kasuji loses it this time on the far sideline. Not sure how Marietta lost Kasuji there so quickly after the free kick to just restart play. You rarely see a goal scored that quickly from that sort of kicking the ball into play again. You just don't see that. It's almost like a lacrosse goal, seeing it so quickly after a face-off, but you just don't see that. And a huge lapse defensively for Marietta. They work to get the 1-0 advantage, and then they give it right back, literally, 20 seconds later. Now, some trouble here as it was headed by the defender, Doherty, away from the striker of Marietta there. That looked like Roberto. And fortunately, Sexton was able to go and get it afterwards. So it's almost like a reset after the Kasuji goal. .36-34 to play, and it is a 1-1 game. We're talking about Teasdale right there before the Kasuji goal. He did score 1 goal his freshman year Doesn't look like he scored any his sophomore year, so just his second career goal as a junior. Kasuji has scored a lot of goals as a junior. He has 5 this season alone now. He was second on the team in the 2020 campaign, which was that short COVID year. He had 2 goals and an assist in that game. And not that game, sorry, that season, his freshman year. And in 2021, started 14 games, and he scored 6 goals in those 14 games. And hasn't been able to play in every game this season. But in the 12 games that he has played, I'm sorry, that is every game. He has played in every game this year. It was Jack Francisco who missed one that I was thinking of. Kasuji played in that first game. But 5 goals now and would it be about 13 games. So you compare that, 27 total games the last 2 years, and he has 11 goals in them. So that's not a bad rate for Jack Kasuji. And fortunately, he'll be back next year for his senior year still. Corner kick is sent in. Sexton punches it just away from the crossbar. Marietta was raising their hands to say that ball went over the end line, but it doesn't appear that it did. And Capital trying to dribble it all the way away from their box. Caruso's going to get called. Actually, a handball is called against Marietta. So Capital survives the corner kick. And we'll send it back into play now with 34 minutes and 26 seconds in the first half. Some headers back and forth on this end of the field for Marietta. And the ball momentarily is controlled by Jacob Roberto. Plays it back and kicked out of bounds. Sam Holthouse raising his hand to say my bad there. Marietta uses a 3-defender look, it looks like. And they play some midfielders back as almost a 5th defender at points. Not as much as Capital plays their outer backs up, and they only run 4 normally on that back line. So Marietta a little bit more of a midfield-heavy alignment. And one striker up top, which is Ben Teasdale, who scored the goal earlier. It might be a little bit of a... It might be a little bit of a weird alignment, a newer alignment for them, as Teasdale, you'd expect playing at the top of the formation like this, would have more than his first career goal, or first goal of the season, in the start of this game. So maybe they're trying a little bit more of a new alignment now, and if that's the case, then it certainly has worked. In the box, Francisco has it for Capital. Centers, there's an opening here for Kasuji, and a great save made. In net by Backhouse. Excellent find for Francisco. They're keeping it going now. Hess pops one towards the goal, and Backhouse is able to cover this one. Fantastic save, denying Kasuji on an excellent pass for Francisco. And that keeps the game level at 1. Ball sent downfield, and it's covered by the goalkeeper now. Sexton will send it back into play. Another one sent back down towards Sexton. He'll be able to smother it. Sexton will walk it up the right side of the field here. Sends it downfield. And Marietta continuing to apply pressure here. Capital has to play it back again to Sexton. They'll try the other end of the field this time. And it goes out of bounds. 1-1 our score, 15 minutes into this one. Ball is thrown in on the far end of the field. And Cap trying to get some momentum again going towards the net. Deaver has it for Cap. Crosses it down to my side of the field. That looked like offsides, and it is. Yoakum, the culprit there for Capital. Marietta has gotten the ball down on this end of the field quite a bit now in the last minute or so. I think we've said Sexton had to play 2 or 3 in a row there out of the net. And now again, having to turn to my left a lot to see the action. Capital is able to get some breathing room and kicks it down towards Backhouse. So we've hit kind of a lull in the stages here of this first half. Both teams have already struck for one and now trying to kind of regroup, it seems. 4 shots for Capital, 1 for Marietta on the header. That was a goal. And now a lot of changing possession. Yoakum's way offsides once again. Timing is just a little bit off there, it seems, as Yoakum getting a little bit too antsy once again. Capital will host John Carroll this weekend as well, as we've mentioned a few times. And that's always a big one with the Blue Streaks, one of the better teams in the conference usually. It's going to be a 1 o'clock start, football on the road this weekend, so we get the afternoon soccer game. It'll also be the last home game for Capital this season, barring hosting a playoff game, which at this point seems pretty unlikely. Hess into the corner will have it for Capital. He has room, tried to bring it into the box, and he's turned aside quickly now. Deaver working to keep the pressure on. Francisco playing all the way back here. And now Yoakum drops it all the way back to Hesse, who's playing defense. Hesse listed on the roster as a midfielder, but is playing more of a center back role right now with Doherty. Chipped towards Caruso. Caruso sends it to the far end of the field. And that's kicked out of bounds. Puckett was playing up there on the far end from his outer back position. Now Yoakum will throw it in instead. So Yoakum from the top end of your screen, throwing it in. Low line drive into the box. It's going to drop on the mat. And a pass too far out in front of Hesse. So Hess has to recover it. It's actually Awad who recovers it. Now sent back in. Caruso contesting. Yoakum has it. Back down in control. Puckett trying to find a cross. Nice stop and go move. He puts it on the right foot, crosses it in. It finds a head, and it goes just wide off the head of Francisco. Good pressure there from Capital. It doesn't result in the goal, but a very good cross. And it was actually Kasuji on the header there that went a little bit wide. Kasuji's been involved in this game, has the goal, of course, but also now has 3 of the 6 shots from the 2 teams combined in this game. If there was any doubt, it's definitely fall now with those crisp fall nights where it's nice and cold here at Bernlohr. And fortunately, we're not outside broadcasting this one, but I do feel for the players. And the fans still showing up in good numbers here today despite the low temperatures. Francisco, shot, goes wide. Francisco with his first shot of the game there. That's a guy that you really want to get going. We know when Francisco gets hot, he's one of the better scorers in the conference, let alone on this team. And definitely want to get him going however they can. 25 minutes left to play in the first half. Doherty pushes it down on the back line of Marietta. Since then, the Pios have controlled. Cap trying to get possession back, and after some pinballing back and forth, it'll be Marietta that wins the throw-in on the far end of the field. Trying to win a foot race was Francisco, unable to get to it first. Kicked out of bounds by Marietta to get it away from Francisco, trying to put it out in front of himself and then run after the long dribble past that end line. And Marietta's defense was ready for it. James Crossy, a senior midfielder, is basically glued to Jack Kasuchi right now, trying to keep him from getting more involved in the game, and we've said his name lots of times already. Two headers away on the Capital defense there. Marietta keeping the pressure on in the box, and Capital will clear once again. Battle for it on the high end of the field. Awad battling, now gets some help from Caruso in the midfield, and it's back down on the turf. Marietta has it again. A shot from Roberto goes wide to the left. Just the second shot of the game for Marietta. Marietta's done a nice job possessing again here, and they've now drawn a foul against Capital. Hesse's going to be called for it. Seemed like some incidental contact. The official looked like he might have been pulling for a card. Kasuji kind of takes the conversation away from the official, and instead of Hesse getting the talking to from the official, he talks to Kasuji instead. Why are they bringing the medical staff? So the official is calling for the medical staff to come into the game. He's already up. And the field mic even picked up the official saying I need one, please. And with all the talk of concussions in the NFL and all of that, I don't know if this is related to that. But they're going to have to substitute here. Ben Teasdale comes out of the game. Taj Hyder, will check into the game for the first time, replacing Teasdale. And I don't know how long Teasdale will be out here, but he looks to be fine. Just was really slow to get up, and the official states that he has to come out of the game. So he must have hit his head or something there, and that causes Teasdale having to go to the bench and take a breather. Player safety, a priority, has definitely come to the forefront in the last few weeks with some of the controversies around concussions in the NFL and things of that nature. It carries into this game here today, I guess. A swinging free kick from Giovanni Audino is knocked away and up the far end of the field. Marietta does keep it in bounds. Wad trying to get it back for Capital. Marietta running away, and it goes all the way back to the back line. Controlling this is Dave Beatty, the senior defender. And his kick is knocked down in the midfield by Capital. Controlled by Caruso. Plays it back to Deaver. Deaver, nice pass. Wide open is Devin Hess. He came back to the ball. Now Hess tries to put it out in front of Caruso, maybe a little bit too off-center. Good job backing this up. It's kicked to the front of the net, and Backhouse comes out of the net to make the save before Kasuji can get to it. Good run from Kasuji. Good backup there by Puckett on the pass to Caruso, and Puckett sends it in right on net. Backhouse wins the one-on-one. Being able to use his hands, a huge advantage, and he grabs it out of the air before Kasuji can touch it. Cap keeping the pressure on now, goes back to Backhouse, who kicks it out of bounds. No way that was in. Okay. Late whistle on the near sideline. It didn't look like that was coming at all. But the whistle does come late, and Capital will have the free kick, or the throw in now on the near sideline. Good strong throw from Yoakum. Francisco drops it for Hess. Hess battles. Stolen by Deaver. Deaver has help to the right, gets it there. Francisco looking for a cross, knocked down. Nice block. Yoakum feeds Deaver now. Deaver, inside cut, splits two defenders, goes down hard. No whistle, wow. They were going to say that's a clean tackle. Certainly was not in the box, but definitely would have set up a free kick from just outside of it. And Deaver doesn't get the call. Excellent footwork from Deaver to split two defenders there. And I thought warranted a whistle. Yoakum throws it in. Cap trying to keep this sequence on here. 19 and a half minutes. Speaking of trying to keep it alive. There's Deaver again. Flying into the play. And this time he does get the whistle. So Puckett will take the free kick from about 50 yards away. Don't be surprised if he drains this himself here, but Capital is stacking a lot of bodies at the front of the box, so maybe making a late run to try to find a tip. Puckett, great ball, and no one's there first but the keeper. So Backhouse will just throw it to the near sideline, and Cap will try to keep the intensity on this side of the field. Devin Hess doing a fantastic job. Hess, pass, Kasuji, inside cut. That's got to be a foul. That one is called. Kasuji slow to get up. Maybe doing a little bit of embellishing to try to get a card. And Cap can try to put this one on the net now from just outside of the 18. Marietta sets their wall just in front of the box, and the official marking them off. Who brought out the spray paint? Like to see that. Don't always have that. So he backs them up. Still towing them back up a little bit. It's going to be a 5-man wall for Marietta. Deaver's going to sit right next to it. We're waiting for the rebound. It's going to be a 6-man wall now as Marietta has another party joining. and he seems to be marking just Deaver. There's a little bit of a split between the 6 defenders there. And it's played back, and now the kick is wide. Oh, that was tricky there. Awad went with the back heel pass to Puckett, changed the angle a little bit, and Puckett goes for the far post and just shoots it wide. Excellent try, and you got a high-quality look out of it. So can't hate the shot attempt there from Puckett, and one of the better ones we've seen from him. He's been a little off target, as we saw in the Muskingum game. Another sub for Marietta, as being sent off is Elliot Britton. He has to tie his shoe? I'm not sure why he was sent off. They called time, so there is a stoppage in the clock right now. And he's good now. That was a weird equipment issue. It looked like he just needed to tie his shoe. Came to the sideline to do it. Been a bizarre game at times. Yoakum quickly continues play with a throw-in that gets headed out of bounds. Capital using a lot of quick throw-ins. I don't know how that's not out of bounds. Okay, it is. Throw in for Marietta coming now. So the particular games of interest besides this one for Capital would be you want to see Baldwin Wallace lose, as they're currently tied with Capital for the 7th spot. So we'll start there in our jump around the OAC. They are currently winning. They're playing winless Heidelberg, though. The Berg at 0-5 so far in OAC play, and doesn't look like they're off to a great start tonight as they trail 2-0 to the Yellow Jackets. We have no score between John Carroll and Otterbein that we can update, as this one's going to be a corner kick now, headed out of bounds by Capital. Mount Union is leading Muskingum 1-0 on a PK, taken in the game's 3rd minute. Jamin McCourt scoring for Mount Union, so that one does help Capital. We want to see Mount Union win that one. And Ohio Northern and Wilmington are scoreless right now. We'll get an update on John Carroll and Otterbein when able to, but their live stats are not up, so can't pass the score along from that one. Still 1-1 here. 15:37 to play. The corner kick is punched and then kicked away. Still in the box, and a cross to the other side. Headed off of the crossbar, and Sexton makes the save off of the crossbar. Got some help from his buddy above him. And kicked out of bounds now. Sexton a little bit hyped up about that one. Dangerous chance, but Capital survives. The goal scored earlier, by the way, from Teasdale and Kasuja, I mentioned within 30 seconds. The exact time was 16 seconds between goals. Capital was able to get this thing all the way into Marietta's territory after the after the shot attempt from Hyder was saved by Sexton, and then a shot that goes off of the crossbar that Sexton's able to grab as well. 7 shots for Capital, 4 for Marietta. We've entered the last 15 minutes of the first half. We won't give you a Geico ad with that. And good work here from Devin Hess. He's been really good today on the defensive side. Usually the leading goal scorer for Capital with 5 goals entering this one. But he's been really good in this spot, kind of keeping the ball down here in this side of the field, getting possession back for his team. Awad will come out, and checking in for Capital is Fangay. Ron Fangay, the sophomore out of Reynoldsburg. He's going to play up top, it looks like, and Devin Hess will play on the left side of the attack now, with Francisco playing on the right wing. Throw into the box. Hess. Oh, it was a nice move. It bounced over the defender, Sam Holthouse, and Devin Hess, instead of going for the ball, kind of ran past him. And then Hess turned around and looked for the ball and couldn't find it in time before it bounced out of bounds. It was a nice move, but it did not work out. Now a whiff at midfield from Marietta allows Deaver to get possession. There's some numbers here for Capital to work with. Kick down to this side of the field. Francisco looking for a crosser. Fonge's there, and Francisco will have to be a little bit more patient. Tried to cross, it got blocked. Caruso follows it up, fakes a shot, kicks it back to Francisco. Crossed in, headered out, and controlled now by Yoakum. Yoakum swinging it around. Puckett's up there with him. Deaver goes that direction. Puckett sends it in on net, far post, and that should be a corner. It will be. Touched by Marietta in the box. So another corner kick for Capital. So it'll be their their first of the game, actually. We talked about how they've had a lot of them, third most in the conference so far in the 5 games. And on this corner, cleared away by Marietta. Looked like Cap was going to get a shot off there, but didn't. Marietta on a clear out in front of everybody was Hyder, and nothing threatening there as Capital's able to get it back to their keeper. We can also give you an update on the Capital women's team when I tried to last time. That was when the goals were scored by each side. So hopefully we don't. If Marietta scores here, I'm done talking about the women's team. Checking on the live stats, and Capital is ahead in that one, 1-0. A third-minute goal from Sophia Leonetti, giving Capital the lead there. And as I was trying to mention before, the goal from Teasdale, the women's team is 4-0-1 this season, and seemingly on their way to an unbeaten path in conference play. That would give them the number 1 seed in OAC play and put them in a great position to qualify for NCAAs. So hopefully they can keep the win streak alive, and they seem to be in the right direction as Sophia Leonetti again scores the goal. Liv Alford getting the start for Capital. So been trying to kind of sort through that goalie situation between Lauren White, the senior, and Alford, the freshman. And Alford seemingly might have won that job for Capital, but as I say that, we might see Lauren White on Saturday. Who knows? They play at John Carroll on Saturday and have 2 home games next week. Heidelberg on Wednesday and Baldwin Wallace to end the season on the 29th. And the regular season, I should say. Throw in coming for Capital with 10 minutes left in the half here. I'm looking at the live stats from the women's game. They're out shooting Marietta 19-1 in the first half. And 10 of the 19 have been on goals. Already 9 saves made by Marietta's Madison Miller in net. That's crazy. Could see some high scoring from the women in that game against Marietta. We'll keep an eye there as well. Once again, still 1-1 here. Capital has been kind of on their heels here in the last few minutes. A lot of pressure being applied by the Pioneers. It's been kind of an even second half, or even first half, I would say, as we look towards the second half. And maybe a slight advantage to Capital. They do have a shot advantage and probably a little bit more possession. But Marietta's had some scary chances as well. They've had quality looks. And pretty even game. I would say it could be really interesting to see how this turns out. You can see both sides run away with it, and both teams need this game. We mentioned the playoff implications. This is currently number 6 versus number 7 in the OAC regular season standings, and that 6th spot gets you the final ticket to the OAC tournament, so that is an important seed. And if either team wins this game, they would get some distance between the other team here. So if Marietta wins at 2-3, they'd move to 3-3. They'd have 9 points. Capital would be 1-4-1, have just 4 points, and be 5 points behind, which is obviously a problem with just 3 games left. If Marietta loses, however, they move to 2-4. Capital would move to 2-3-1, which would put them at 7 points, 1 point ahead of Marietta. And in either of those situations, the winner would have the tiebreaker over the other team as well, which could very much come into play if Marietta picks up a tie at some point in their last 3 games. So that is worth mentioning. And if they do walk away with the draw tonight, then neither team would have the tiebreaker over the other, and Marietta would keep a 2-point advantage over Capital. So for them, a draw, especially on the road, not a bad result. Capital needs to walk away with a win from this one. And both teams playing like this is kind of a playoff game. It's been a fun atmosphere so far. 7 minutes left. This free kick didn't get really threatening at all, as Capital's defense up to the task. The Pioneers keeping the momentum on. They go to the left side now. Knocked down by Capital. I believe that's Kasuji who has it. It is. He goes up the sideline to Francisco. Fangay and Hess ahead of him. Fangay trying to recover the clear. Marietta has it, and they send to midfield, cross midfield. And controlled by Hyder. Hyder sends it forward. That is substitute Ian Yarwood, number 3, who has checked in for Marietta. And we also failed to say that Tyler Roseborough has checked in. He's number 29 tonight, listed on the roster normally as 18, so a jersey change for him. Substitution now for Capital as Hess checks out. And Kasuji keeps possession here. Checking in for Capital was number 6, Hamoudi Abdelghani, the younger brother of Mujahid Abdelghani. The senior Muj and the freshman Hamoudi, both from Toledo, Ohio. So Hamoudi gets in for Capital. This is his second game played. He played 7 minutes in his only other game this season. That was against Wittenberg on the 17th. So we're starting to see a little bit of different rotations here from Coach, trying to find some combinations that work here. And Hamoudi inserted to try to make something happen here in the game's, in the half's final few minutes. That one goes through the box harmlessly. Had a lot of heat on it, but no one near it, and untouched through the box. Goal kick coming, 5 minutes left in the first half. At midfield, Kasuji wins it for Capital. Oh, handball off the wrist of Caruso. Marietta tried to play it quick, and the officials are going to blow this play dead. So they'll get a free kick from the positive side of midfield if you're Marietta. No, they're actually backing them up quite a bit here. Basically from midfield is where this is going to be kicked, from the logo at midfield. Raising his hand is Beatty, and he sends it in. A lot of heat. Offsides called against Marietta. 4 minutes for Capital here. 2 goals in the game's 7th minute. One from Teasdale, one from Kasuji, separated by 16 seconds. And that is where we stand with 3:40 to play. Both of these teams need this one. Both of these teams average allowing 2 goals a game so far in conference play. So don't be surprised if 2 isn't enough in this one. Might take someone getting to 3. But each team trying to get to 2 first right now. A shot here that's going to go wide from Marietta. But strap in for a wild second half is what I'm going to say here. A prediction. I think we're going to see a lot of intensity, especially as the game nears the end. And I think both these teams are going to come out on fire trying to find another quick goal like they did in the first half. Sometimes it feels like that first half, a lot of trying to feel each other out. And then as the game gets into the later stages in that second half, both teams kind of seem to find another gear, and you see a lot more shots and a lot more action back and forth. And we've seen some of that at points here in the first half, and I think second half is going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a really fun half to watch. 2.5 minutes left in this half. They're going to call that a goal kick, I believe. Looks like it might have been a foul as Hamoudi was taken down on his cross attempt, but they're going to say he did that under his own volition there. Looked like a handball on Capital miss there. Deaver stuck his hand out. Maybe he was just, from my angle, looked like he was touching the ball there, but Caruso gets away with the shove now. And a steal, maybe. Abdelghani is going to get called for a yellow there. And a little bit chippy after the play. Just a high-speed collision there between Abdelghani and Kennedy. And Kennedy is still hot about it. Kennedy now goes back down to the ground. And very upset that Abdelghani came diving in there. And, I mean, obviously Abdelghani was trying to make a play on the ball. I think he missed the ball and caught a lot of Kennedy. Kennedy took offense to it. Probably has some right to do so. And I think it's okay that both sides reacted the way they did there. And a good job by Marietta's teammates to keep Kennedy away and Abdelghani from not engaging there. No problem with chippiness and a little bit of chirping. And I think that was more than fine given the situation. Kennedy clearly in pain. And he drops to the ground now. And the sideline is calling, or they're calling to the sideline to come out here. And one of the trainers from Marietta is now making his way out to midfield. Kennedy was really hot after the play there and walked right up to Abdelghani, got in his face a little bit, probably was not asking how class went earlier today, and the teammates from Marietta then came in and broke that up. And then after that, Kennedy was kind of limping around behind the play and then just dropped to the ground, and he's still down there, just now getting back to his feet. And I think he's going to be fine in the long term. But if you've ever been cleated, it doesn't feel great. And definitely, again, definitely an okay reaction, I think, for Kennedy to do what he did there. And life goes on both sides. Well, I mentioned it's going to be a pretty high-intensity second half, so that's only going to add to the fire. Kennedy is still walking to the sideline here. Replacing him is going to be Justin Collins. And Collins gets into the action now. Kennedy still upset as he comes to the sideline. And he's going to be okay. I'm sure we'll see him in the second half. He's walking okay now without a limp or anything. Plays resume. Ball sent into the box. And it's blocked by Fungay. Now another one sent through. Chipped into the air. Not sure who got a foot on that one. And now Deaver headers it away. Sent back in with a foot. Hesse's headers away over the head of Deaver. Kasuji comes back to help. Another ball crossed in, kicked out by Hesse. Still alive. Wow, what a move there. Oh my goodness. Gavin Long put it on his left foot and then bicycled around with his right almost. Not a flying bicycle, but went from his left foot to his right foot, a rainbow, that's the word I'm looking for, and sent it on net wide. That would have been one of the goals of the year right there if Long was able to connect. Excellent job of controlling that with his left foot, and then what looked like he was just sticking his foot out to get control was actually part of a rainbow dribble over his head and then kicked it with the right foot wide. He earns a corner kick. Nothing comes from it. A highlight that results in nothing, but what a play by Long. Capital trying to get something going in the final 20 seconds of the half. They may be able to get a deep shot off. Kasuji looking for some space. Calls for it right back. Gets it right back. Sends it forward. Kicked out of bounds. That's going to be it. Capital will try to throw it in quickly. Kasuji for Funge calling for it. 3 seconds, headers it, and that's going to be time. Good effort at the end of the half. Again, an excellent play from Gavin Long. Still kind of trying to process that one up here. It doesn't result in a goal, but we did have 2 goals in the first half in this one, and with 15 minutes on the clock for halftime, we'll be back with the broadcast in 15 for what should be an intense and exciting second half here from Bernlohr. Stay with us. Welcome back to Bernlohr, Capital, and Marietta doing battle. Second half action about ready to get underway here, as we are tied at 1 and hope to have a really intense and exciting second half. I think we will. Jimmy Bloomfield up here with you in the booth, and we appreciate you tuning in as always. A reminder, on Saturday, 1 o'clock start. John Carroll will be in town. It'll be the last men's home game. And then 2 home games for the women to close out the regular season next week on Wednesday and on Saturday. Both of those, I believe, are 7 o'clock kicks. Double check that as we move through the half here. We have switched sides, so Marietta will be moving left to right now. And they have a free kick from about midfield. So very quickly, we are right back into the action. And already a free kick in the first minute. It goes to the front of the box, and it is headed away by Capital. Yes, both October 26th, Wednesday, and October 29th, women's games here at Bernlohr will be night games at 7 o'clock. Senior day, senior night we should call it, will be on Saturday as well at 7. 7 o'clock the kick against Baldwin Wallace. Well, we can update you on the women. They are up 2-0 right now on Marietta. Second goal scored in that game. We'll continue to monitor the score and pass along the goal scorers when it gets close to final. Okay, so some scores around the OAC. Baldwin Wallace is up 3-0 on Heidelberg right now, so it looks like they're in control of that one. And Capital would need to win to stay tied with Baldwin Wallace, if that is the case. Another set piece here, meanwhile. Headed up in the air. Sexton jumps. It's down on the turf, and it's clicked away and blocked. Oh, my goodness. A wild scramble for it, and Capital comes away with it, fortunately. Now the Comets trying to counterattack here. A ball sent down to Awad. He controls with the right foot. Now Awad kicks it back, and Deaver trying to keep this going. At this point, Marietta is obviously back in position. Francisco takes a kick. It's loose, and on the rebound, it's sent home. Capital with the goal. Francisco puts one on net. It goes off of the keeper Backhouse, and he doesn't control the rebound well. And as a result, it's kicked into the back of the net. Believe it was Kasuji again. We'll wait on that. But either way, a huge goal for Capital once again early in the half. And it's a 2-1 game now. Jack Kasuji is credited with the goal. Good rebound control, well, not good rebound control, I should say, in net by Backhouse, but in the right spot is Kasuji, and he sends it home. And just like that, it's 2-1 now with the Comets in front. I mentioned at the end of that first half, it's probably going to take 3 tonight would be my guess. But the second goal would be obviously a pivotal one, as it gives the team a huge advantage here with the 1-goal lead in the second half. And that's exactly what we see. So Cap up by 1 and looking for more. Jet Kasuji continues his impressive streak, now leading the team with 6 goals. Not really a streak, I guess, just consistency with now 13 goals scored in 27 games. You will take that every day of the week. Particularly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. 41-26 to play. I mentioned Capital probably needs a win to stay level with Baldwin Wallace. We talked about the implications with Marietta. But very possibly we could be heading into a collision match that last game of the season at Baldwin Wallace, where the winner of that game determines if that winner will determine the final spot in the OAC tournament. There's a lot of scenarios in which that could be the case. And while Capital sits at 1-3-1, we also mentioned there's a very good chance they can finish 3-1 at least to close out OAC play. And if they did that, they'd end at 500 and all of a sudden look like a much better team in terms of a threat on paper than what they might seem at 1-3-1. Puckett goes down, and Marietta gets a resulting push out of that. Nothing doing there. And now Capital will counter the other way. At midfield, controlled by the Pios, sent to the far side. And they've got to put the foot on the gas now themselves, as this has become a little bit more urgent now, down by 1. Oh, takedown on the far end. That's a foul on Capital. Wow. Thought Capital was going to get a free kick out of that. And it's actually the other. Francisco goes down, and the whistle goes against Francisco. Kasuji had a run there, but the ball was just behind him. And that would have probably been a hat trick if that ball gets on Kasuji's foot. Hesse now has to defend on this end. Hyder still in there for Marietta. So when Teasdale came out, he was sent off the field by the officials. And this is Teasdale again, actually. He's still in there. Now he's hobbling to the sideline. So Teasdale, I thought he was being replaced by Hyder. At least on the position on the field, Hyder's out there for him. And Teasdale, who had to come out in the first half to injury, has to be replaced again early in the second half. He'll be replaced by number 5, James Crossy, who was getting a breather, with Hyder in there for him and some other players shifted around on the field. Now they're going to have to change that. Heard Coach Yost just yell down there, Connor, if you get it, let's play it quick. So if this throw-in comes all the way to Sexton, he is going to try to get a quick counter going for Capital. Teasdale getting his hamstring wrapped up, it looks like, on the sideline. So that might have been the issue in the first half, too, where he was told to come off the field. Not certain. All right, so here's the throw-in now. It goes to the box. It's going to be headed right to Sexton, and Sexton doesn't play it all that quickly. Well, I thought we'd see him roll that down and go, but he actually opted to slow that down. Now he has a big bomb of a kick all the way to the 30-yard line. Hess controls for Capital. Hess now looking for some help. Gets it to the left side of him. Caruso, and that's got to be a foul. Kasuji gets taken down from behind. Aggressive defense there from Holthouse. A little bit of a size advantage there for Holthouse. Kasuji a little bit slow to get up, but overall it looks like he's going to be fine. Now they play it quick, and the officials don't like that. Yeah, really quick kick there from Awad, and he did get it to Kasuji, who had been, like I said, slow to get up. He just kind of popped up, and they kicked it to him. And the officials don't like that one. The kick was to Puckett there, who went for a run, not Kasuji. That makes more sense. I thought Kasuji just popped up from being a little bit slow to get up, but he's still kind of hobbling around behind the play. You can see him around the 30-yard line there on your screen. Hands on his hips and walking around. So he's not really involved in this play here. Awad kicks it in. No, that's a good ball. Had a nice little curl on it at the end, and it bit right to Backhouse. Almost the right idea. He was trying to get that to curl in the backside of the net there on the far post, but caught a little bit too much of the main area of the net, if you will. Nonetheless, a good ball. Marietta, by the way, is now out shooting Capital 11-10. They've turned that around, but they still trail 2-1. Deaver gets the steal for Capital. He shoots one wide of the net. Backhouse lets it go out of bounds instead of playing it. Ball sent upfield by the Marietta defense now. Puckett will clear it to midfield. A header from Hess. Francisco with a trip and then kind of lets it go so they don't get the whistle. And probably would have preferred a whistle there as the kick goes right to Capital. Now Cap's on a counter push. Kasuji looks towards Francisco, goes the other way to Awad. Awad takes the shot, similar looking shot as the free kick there. And a nice diving save made in net by Backhouse. Awad likes that little right foot chip shot. Didn't work here. And he'll try to use that now on the corner kick, putting some English on this one in front of the net. See what he can do. Nice headers from Holthouse to clear that out on the corner. Controlled by Capital, kind of. Doherty lost it. Bought enough time for Deaver to get back. Deaver gets the steal. And it comes all the way back now to Sexton, who's playing 15 yards out of the box. And he'll clear it away. 10 yards out of the box. Marietta wins possession back from it. Deaver getting back nicely. Across to the weak side, and Puckett sends it away. That'll allow Capital to set up their defense. Now with 35-10 to play in the game, ball's quickly thrown in. Good pace here to the second half. And a jumping kick to clear. Finds the body of a Marietta defender. Francisco trying to get to this one. And it's going to be picked up by Backhouse at the edge of the 18 box. Quickly thrown in again. Not much of a break in the action here, which is nice to see. Caruso. Slide tackle missed. Caruso controls, has Yoakum. Yoakum to Deaver, and the freshman Deaver goes to work. Up to Awad. Awad back heels it, trying to put it out in front of Kasuji, and it's kicked out of bounds off of Marietta. Free kick net, or throw-in coming for Capital. So Yoakum will come to this side. Pretty much takes all of the throw-ins for Capital in this range because you try to turn these almost into a corner kick. Yoakum throws it a little bit short, headed on by Caruso. It's down on the turf, cleared away, but not by much. Puckett tried to send it back in. Hesse sends it in. And a catch made by Backhouse. Then he drops to the ground. He collides with Yoakum. Yoakum's calling for a corner kick, but it's going to be a goal kick. Yoakum had to be careful not to make too much contact with the keeper there, and kind of a wasted chance as a result of that. Didn't want to get the whistle and tried to do enough to make Backhouse drop it, keep it in play. Backhouse did drop it, but it went out of bounds off of Yoakum as he went up to make the catch almost around Yoakum's body. Throwing coming for Marietta now right down in front of us, and it's sent in quickly once again. Roberto sends it outside, cross in. There is Yoakum to get the first header on it. It's controlled momentarily, and now Deaver sweeps it away. Hyder had trouble getting it on net. Now a pass to Hyder, who's offsides, right? Yes, offsides called against Hyder. And another push survived by Capital at this point, just kind of trying to survive the rushes here, if you will, from the other side. Tripped up there was Kasuji, and he did draw a whistle, so he will get to send this forward. Free kick, and Puckett looks like he's going to take it. Puckett sends one in, and it's cleared away. Hesse trying to back this thing up, and he's just going to have to control it back to Sexton. Couldn't keep the pressure on quickly, so definitely get the possession instead. Sent upfield by Sexton. He'll take a shot at trying to set something up deeper. And Awad will have Kasuji. Kasuji back to Awad. Something developing here. And Awad scores, but he's offside. That one probably would have been the clincher for Capital. Excellent two-man game there between Kasuji and Awad. And Awad unable to stay on side there. It was close. And he broke clear of his defender with the offside. So, still 2-1. And now Marietta will resume play. Crossy sends it upfield. Taken away by Yoakum. Yoakum taken down with a clean slide tackle, but a throw-in coming for Capital. Capital possessing in the box, and now a foul called against Capital. That was Francisco. And yeah, actually offsides, the call there, not a foul, my mistake. Marietta primes for another rush towards the Capital net. Nothing really developing here. Ball to the outside high end of your screen. It is controlled, but I don't think there's going to be much here. And it's already taken right back by Capital. Almost a corner kick, but it will be a goal kick instead. Marietta controls the 50-50 ball at midfield, and they'll start it up again. That one shut down before it even started. Sent into the corner and kicked out of bounds by Marietta. Awad has been looking very dangerous on this near side, and him and Kasuji are on the same page right now. Time is called. We have an injury? An equipment issue, it looks like. We're going to resume play. Not sure why time was stopped there. They'll wind the clock with 28:16 to play. Awad tried the far end of the field for Yoakum, and it's immediately thrown in by Backhouse. He almost throws it out of bounds. Marietta cuts inside now. Pass goes to James Crossy. Crossy to the far end, off of Deaver, controlled by Awad. Awad drops it forward, spins back. Walked up the field by Caruso, goes out wide, Francisco. Couple of fakes played back. Puckett winds up, and the line drive into the box is headed away. Deaver wins possession back for Capital at midfield. Marietta gets the takeaway now on the far end of the field. They have some traffic in the box. A cross gets blocked, and now a shot on net that's going to go way high. (26-35) and counting. Couple of headers here from Capital at midfield, and Marietta seems to be able to control. Yes, they'll have another run here. So they're starting to get some momentum here, and Capital trying to flip this around. Capital is the team with the lead right now, so a lot more urgency being displayed from Marietta. Capital just trying to play good defense right now, and Awad is going to draw the foul. Capital was able to get it down on this left side of your screen a little bit. Deaver, no one there. Marietta has it at midfield now. Awad coming back into the picture, does a nice job breaking that play up. Awad has played really good tonight. Hopefully he gets recognized for that. Maybe he hasn't shown up on the score sheet yet. Almost did on the offsides goal, but nonetheless, he has been involved and he's been very good in this one. 24:38 to play. Still a lot of time left in this game, and we may still see multiple goals if you ask me. Hesse plays it forward. Kasuji looking for some help. Made an offender drop again. That seems to be a occurrence once a game. Spin moves, kicked outside. Capital has only had 2 subs playing this game. Fongay played for 14 minutes. And Abdelghani has played for 6 minutes. That's Hamoudi Abdelghani, not his brother Mooch, who we had seen a lot throughout his career, the senior here. I'm assuming some sort of injury issue for Mooch not being out there at all in this one. But yeah, Capital's been basically running with this starting 11. All but 20 minutes in this game have been played by the starting 11. Marietta trying to find a hole. Capital has kind of packed it in defensively. They have 10 players down. Throw-in coming from Marietta on the near sideline. Throw-in coming. It's going to be short and headed right back out. Now maybe a cross coming from Beatty. He tried it. Headed away. Now another shot. And that one just high and wide. Must have hit a body in front, so it'll be a corner kick for Marietta. And they are on a constant assault right now and are getting closer and closer, it feels like. Ball that goes loose off of Sexton and it's kicked onto Mount Street, way over the net. Probably need a higher quality touch there if you're Marietta. And what presented as a good opportunity off of the corner kick, it hit the keeper and then was down there ready to be served into the net, and it was served way over the net instead. Awad is out in front of everybody. He's onside. He plays it into the box, crosses, and a shot from Francisco. He didn't get a lot behind it. He tried to kick it off the side of his left foot there as he was running by it, and he didn't get a lot on it in terms of heat at all. Now a foul is called against Marietta right down in front of us at midfield. So Cap will have another free kick from about 50 after unable to finish on the last sequence there. Shots are now even at 14 apiece. Puckett, that's going into the box. It's headered and goes the wrong way, away from the net. Cap trying to keep it alive. Caruso cuts to the inside. Now goes outside to Awad. Back heels it. Kasuji, he's there. Kasuji crosses. Oh, Caruso was there, and it was just too far out in front of Caruso. Now a drop for Hesse. His shot hits a body in front. Deaver, excuse me, with that shot. Hit a body in front and collected by the keep. Two really good tries there from Capital in succession. Pass just a little wide to Caruso, and then the shot that got blocked. Now a ball that drops at midfield untouched. On the 50-50 ball, Marietta collects, sent up field. That's trouble up the far end. An inside move, a shot, and a save made by Sexton. Connor Sexton makes the save. Nice ball and an outside pass there. Through ball lobbed through the air to the far side of the field from the near side. And Sexton shuts the door with his 5th save. Meanwhile, Luke Price, he has checked into the game on the other side, was going to be checking on Backhouse in terms of his stats. He was replaced at halftime, actually, by Luke Price, and Price has already made 5 saves in this game, all here in the second half. I mentioned Backhouse has most of the minutes in net for Marietta, but Price has been the better statistic leader for them in net. I don't know if that's maybe based on matchups. He's played different players, different teams. But for whatever it's worth, Luke Price, 4th in the league in save percentage and 5th in GAA. He's played 464 minutes. He's allowed just 5 goals, now 6. His GAA will be above 1 now. Came into this one at .97. And he's already made 5 saves in this game. Backhouse made just 2 saves in that first half. Sexton's still in there for Capital. He has played all 71 minutes of this one. So apologies for not catching that earlier, but Price in net now for Marietta. 18 minutes to play. That is an absolute rocket off of the foot of the free kick there taken by Dave Beattie. Marietta trying to keep the push alive here. Britton unable to find anyone on the other end of that kick. And now it's cleared away by Capital. Trying to protect here the final 17:30. Goes back to the keeper, Price. And Price will swing it around the other way. Cap gets a steal. Kasuji passes in front of Puckett. Puckett trying to get it to Francisco. Didn't get a lot on it. Francisco is still able to keep the sequence alive. His cross is blocked. Played back to Awad. He has some space. Awad now plays it back instead to Kasuji. Kasuji back to Awad, setting up for a cross. Awad dribbles into the box. Awad now crosses and sets up the corner. Nicely done by Zaid. So Awad will take the corner kick as well from the near side of the field. Awad used a pass to try to center it from the corner kick, playing it short. Deaver tries to squeak through the box. He can't. And now it's cleared all the way upfield. Potentially a steal here now from Marietta if they can control on the near side. Hayter moving it around now to Roberto, who switches fields. It comes all the way back to our side of the field with Kennedy, who was shaken up in that first half with the collision with Abdul Ghani. Nice control here with the chest of Aldino, but his shot goes wide. 2 subs for Marietta checking in now. Number 3, Ian Yarwood, and number 29, Alec Ellis. I'm sorry, 29 is Rossborough tonight. Forgot about the number change there. So that's Tyler Rossborough. We saw him in the first half. And a whistle now as Kennedy is hurt again. So both players that were injured in the first half for Marietta appear to be shaken up again here in half number 2. This is Kennedy this time. Capital using this as a timeout to hydrate. 15:33 to play. We'll be right back. So with Kennedy out, we resume play. And it's going to be kicked upfield by Capital. Sexton brings it to midfield, and Deaver wins possession for Capital, dropping it down to Caruso. Awad now sends it forward, and Funge, who has checked in for Capital, goes down. He'll draw a foul. Looks like he's replaced Devin Hess. So a free kick coming from Capital. It's going to be from about, what is that, 27 yards away from the net. Awad and Funge are there. Capital's entire team is behind the play for some reason. Maybe strategizing. Are they this concerned about a counter push? This is obviously going to go at net. Capital just has their team in the midfield and on defense. And now the entire team from Marietta came pushing at Funge as if Funge had touched it. He did not. Now Funge will kick it, and a nice save made. Caruso there on the rebound. Might have been offside, and he wins a corner kick anyway. They're all pointing at Caruso, and I think he was offside. I think they have a point. But it was missed by the officials. So Funge, with a nice missile on the free kick, almost scores. And now he'll have a free kick on the corner kick. A high looping one towards the top of the end zone there. Comes out to Deaver. Plays it short, Kasuji. Puckett following up. Rolls a pass inside. Now back outside, Kasuji, and his shot got blocked. So it sets up a corner kick. Here's the free kick now. Funge puts it right at the front of the box, or right at the front of the net, and it's punched away by Price twice. That was a Watt who kicked that corner, actually. I apologize, not Funge. And it's a throw-in for Capital after that one was nearly an Olympico curled into the net. Yoakum now to Funge, who's offsides. That was an excellent header to put it in front of the net, but he was offsides. Capital sprints back on defense, and with 12:49 to play, Marietta looking for the equalizer. I said it might take 3 in this game, but 2 is looking like it might end up to be enough. We'll see. 12.5 minutes to play. Awad plays it forward. Cap still looking for number 3. Here's Kasuji, who has scored both goals for Capital. Kasuji cuts inside, weaves his way through. That's going to be off of Marietta, and yet again, another corner kick for Capital. 3rd in the conference in total corner kicks, and they will kick their 6th of the game in this one, which is right on line with their average. See if they can find a clincher here. Awad with all kinds of traffic right on front of the goal line. He sends a missile. It's sent wide off the head of Kasuji. Jack will get credit for another shot there. That's his 5th of the game, leading all players. 17 total shots for Capital, 16 for the opposition. And the Pioneers will try to level that up and level up the score on the scoreboard as it's currently 2-1 Capital, 11:30 to play. And out of bounds. No whistle. Wow, that I guess was kept in bounds for a little bit, but it rolls over the end line on its way across midfield, and Puckett will have a throw-in for Capital as a result. Fakes a throw-in to Hesse and now walks it upfield, sends it through. It's knocked down by Marietta, and now a ball sent upfield, headed away by Doherty. It goes into the midfield where Beatty is positioned. The senior defender has kind of moved up into more of a midfield role, trying to show off some of the offensive ability. This is him dribbling right now, loses possession, but Roberto has it here. He crosses and now loses it. Hesse takes it away from Hyder and sends it out of bounds at midfield. 10.5 minutes to play. Good ball upfield by Puckett here. That's going to result in a foul on the other side of the field, but good change of field position, if you will. 9:43 to play. Marietta walks it up the near sideline, and Roberto has to play that one back. Capital has 10 men inside of the 20-yard line defending right now. Parking the bus, if you are familiar with the phrase. Kasuji gets the steal. Kasuji to Francisco. Francisco's offsides, and that will garner a whistle there.
Kitsuji maybe should have just taken that and gone. Another ball knocked down in the box and cleared away. Capital clears away after some organizing, we'll call it, from Marietta. Now Funge gets it outside to Francisco, driving into the box. Moves inside, now tried to slide one to Funge, doesn't work. Capital's midfield moved up to take advantage of this field positioning. See if they go for the goal or if they try to play some stalling tactics down in the corner. Could go one of two ways. They're going to swing it to Funge. He's onside. The defender there, Gavin Chappell, just raised his hand and let Funge go behind him. The official never blew the whistle, and Capital's going to get a corner as a result. Jack Francisco comes out, and replacing him is Devin Hess. Capital doesn't have a whole lot of bodies in there for this corner kick. It's sent in anyway by Funge. And headered! Oh, what a save! Despite being outnumbered 7-3 in the box, Caruso gets a really good touch on that and a save made by Price. Throw-in coming far into the field for Marietta. They were able to quickly push the counter off of the corner kick, which Capital was worried about. That's why they had so many bodies on this end of the field. And now with 6.5 minutes to play, it's basically just preservation mode of the 2-1 lead. If a counter presents itself, they'll take it, but a lot of this is just looking to keep Marietta from getting into the score column. And they almost generate a shot in the box here instead. It's kicked out of bounds. Final score in the women's game, 2-0 win over Marietta for Capital. So they're 5-0-1 on the women's side, and they'll try to keep the unbeaten streak alive against John Carroll on the 22nd. We'll see them here again on the 26th and 29th next Wednesday, a week from today, and the following Saturday, Halloween weekend. Throw in for Marietta. Capital trying to make it a clean sweep over the Pios on the pitch tonight. Ball goes outside and wide. Sent in now. Front of the box. It bounces twice, 3 times, 4 times, and sent out of bounds by Capital. Thrown into the box, headered right to Sexton. He was all over that attempt from Roberto. Actually, Hyder, excuse me, on the header there. Ball is thrown in now. Alex Moore is checked in for Capital defensively as a center back. Capital playing with 5 defenders right now, and several in the midfield playing a more defensive role as well. Capital making that substitution. Francisco checking in now for Awad. Hess will come back into the midfield now. Can hear some instruction from Yost being picked up there. He says, get it into the corner. If we can pick one up, great. But at this point, they're looking to save this at 2-1. Ball's in the box, and it's out of the box, courtesy of Yoakum. Marietta trying to find a crack in the defense. A ball that gets through. Sexton makes the save and now falls on top of it. Wow. Well, they found a crack all right. They sent one through. Sexton gets a hand on it and then is able to dive on top of it before anyone can come rushing in. Scary moment there for Capital. Now a ball to midfield. Goes off of the body of Beatty. Capital trying to get it down in the corner as coach instructed. It's going to be out of bounds, but Hess with a good run at it. Ball sent into the box wide of everybody and wide of the net as well. 3:25 to play. This, again, we've said it many times, but would be a monumental win for Capital. Pull them into a tie with Baldwin Wallace for the 6th spot, put them ahead of Marietta in the standings, and have a tiebreaker over the Pioneers. With 3 games left in conference play, would be really big to get this win and would be 1 game shy of 500 against John Carroll. Stolen by Deaver. Hess is here. Deaver and Hess now working for possession into the corner. They get it to Francisco. Francisco has a slide tackle clear of him, and Capital can eat up some clock to throw the ball in now. And now a little bit of keep away in the corner. Ball kicked out of bounds again. This time Capital will have the throw-in on the far end of the field. Marietta not doing much to threaten here over the last 2 minutes. Possession 70 to 80 yards away from Capital's net is something you like to see here. The Pioneers trying to get it back on this end of the field. They do. And we'll see if the Pioneers have something special here this trip. 1:42 to play. A ball sent to the front of the box. It's loose in the box. Sexton punched it away, and then it spins out of bounds. It spins out of the box, I should say. And Beatty fakes a shot. Now loses possession. A slide tackle. Puckett tried to clear. He couldn't. Beatty sends it in way wide, headered away, and it comes all the way back out to the 30-yard line. Back to midfield. Pioneers trying to send traffic at the net again. Sexton stays home this time, not going to punch away across. Ball sent towards the net, but it goes wide with 1:02 to play. A 50-50 ball at midfield could determine if the Pioneers will have another chance on this end of the field. They may not. The 50-50 ball is controlled by Capital. Kasuji rolls it down to the top corner of your screen. And kicked out of bounds off of Capital, literally 110 yards away from the Capital net. Here's the throw in. They gave him 10 yards generously on that. 20 seconds left. Ball is sent upfield. Deaver has it. Just send it down. He does. Francisco trips over himself a little bit, collects it, and now dribbles into the box. He gets shoved to the ground. Okay. 5 seconds left, 2 seconds left actually. That ends it. And a late push to Francisco there. Nothing comes of it. And a hard-fought game by Marietta, no doubt. A goal scored in the end of the, or at the start of the second half was the difference. A very quick goal scored by Kasuji off a rebound on a Francisco shot. And Jack Kasuji, 2. Marietta won, basically the final score of this one. Not to say that it was just Jack that did everything, but he is the two-time goal scorer in this one. A really good team win. Some really good performances around the field. Deaver, Awad, all over the place. Devin Hess as well. And a good win in net from Sexton. He makes 7 saves and allows just 1. And good quick strike from Capital. They scored quickly off of the kickoff in the second half, and they scored quickly off of the kickoff as a result of the Marietta goal. 16 seconds later, scoring what turned out to be the deciding goal in this game. Absolutely huge win in the standings for Capital as they now pull ahead of Marietta, who had the 6th spot coming into this game. Now Capital is tied with Baldwin Wallace, who is still on the schedule for the 6th spot. They have games with John Carroll this weekend here at Bernlohr at 1 o'clock start. And then they have games still next week at Heidelberg on Wednesday and at Baldwin Wallace on Sunday. I'm sorry, next Saturday, a week from this Saturday on the 29th. So be interesting to see if Capital can make a run and get into that playoff. And we've seen them win as a lower seed in the playoff on the road in that first round a couple times in recent memory. So they may be able to write this thing in time for the tournament. Get back to 500, I think, is well within the question with the way the schedule is set up. Just 2 more wins to get there out of the last 3. And we'll see what they can piece together in terms of making a run at the OAC title. The women, unbeaten in conference play as well. And we'll be excited to watch their chase over the next 3 games as well. Playoff soccer's around the corner here. We should have some games at Bernlohr. We have a couple more broadcasts left in the regular season, so we hope you tune in as we conclude the regular season. A 1 o'clock start on Saturday against John Carroll. I'll be here a week from tonight on 7 o'clock start for the women when we play Heidelberg on Wednesday. So 2 broadcasts coming up for you there. And we hope you join us on Saturday. Capital will try to make it 2 in a row as they face off with the Blue Streaks. A 2-1 final score here for Capital, the win over Marietta. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Jimmy Bluefield. We'll catch you next time.